clearly something wasn't gelling in that relationship for you to seek this outside validation. Going 20 some odd years with not hearing that from anybody.
Yeah, you were empty.
I was empty. And because we never argued it. So it just never felt like that second gear.
I've heard that it's like not a good sign.
Yeah.
It means, which is weird.
Yeah.
Because there'll be people that brag like, we never fight. We just have so much fun together and we just agree on everything. And that's why we're a great match. You have your own wants and needs and history and other things that are completely individual to you that are so different from your partner. And like, it's on you. You're not communicating.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should be fighting all the time, obviously.
You're hiding part of yourself.
Yes.
If you are, or even part of your background or history or something, if you never allow yourself to be like, hey, actually, I don't agree with that thing.
Welcome to Crying Behind Sunglasses, a mental health podcast for cool people. Join me, your fearless host, Keila Dolle, as I interview comedians, entertainers, experts, and people from all walks of life about their issues and find a way to laugh about them. Because if you can laugh about your problems, then they no longer have power over you. I'm here to share more about my own self-help journey too, so that you can feel less alone. Disclaimer, this podcast is not meant to be a substitute for medical advice or therapy. Shocking, I know, but I'm not a doctor. This show is more like the hot cup of tea after therapy. Let's do this. Today's episode is a fun one. My close friend and brilliant comedian Martin Morrow is here, and you have seen him in every commercial on your television, maybe most notably as one of the progressive dads. He's also in Netflix's I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson. We chat about him coming up from Alabama to the Chicago comedy scene, relationships, and also infidelity in those relationships and how it can weirdly help things get better sometimes. At least it clarifies things. And also, trigger warning, we chat about how he survived a suicide attempt thanks to his mother. So if that's not for you, then I put the time codes of that topic in the description so you can skip past it. I will say, though, Martin is such an inspiration, and he reminds us all that it is never too late to start over. We are here to make mistakes so that we can learn from them. Being a fuck up is actually a positive thing, because if you're just trying to be perfect all the time, you're going to be in your safe little bubble and you're not going to experience anything real in your life. This episode was the first one that I recorded after my recent foot surgery, and the first one that we did in person since the pandemic. We have a 3-camera fancy setup. Woo! As you may or may not have noticed, we now have full video episodes available. So if you go to cryingbehindpod.com or in our description, then you can view them there. And as a little cherry on top, if you go to patreon.com/cryingbehindpod, I am putting bonus video clips on there. So all of the things that I cut out in order to make the episode shorter, the little juicy bits, the fun bits, the weird stuff, all of those things are going on to Patreon exclusively. So without further ado, enjoy.
From KFC's Recipe for Seduction, comedy stages all over America. Please welcome Martin Morrow.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yay, so good to see you.
You as well.
So, mental health check-in, Martin. Just like, take a little breath, take a little check-in with your body. How are we feeling today? How are we doing?
I'm good. I'm vibing.
You're vibing?
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you doing?
I'm like a little nervous because usually, like with the Zoom interviews, you got your notes right here, you got the guest right here, and you can be like, oh, yeah, and have all the bullet points there. No, I can't hide behind a screen.
No, well, no, you just have to hide behind reality.
Oh, I do that every day.
Don't we all? That's part of LA.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about, like, you grew up in Alabama.
Yes.
And how did you start off in the comedy world? I mean, you're naturally a funny person. I have to imagine, were you like class clown status?
I wouldn't say class clown status. Something my mom used to tell me is that I'd do one bad thing like every other year. And then, so you said those like kind of like leap year of whatever, but not bad, but like mischievous. I was more of a mischievous kid.
Mischievous. Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I was a class clown. I was kind of like quiet and I had my like friends that I like to hang out. I'm basically the same way I am now. I had my core group of people I like to hang out with. And from time to time, I would, do something stupid and just have fun with that. And like I think the first kind of time I got in trouble was, God, it had to be like 6th or 7th grade. So I wrote like a blog, like it was like a cartoon live journal blog or whatever.
I love live journal.
Yeah.
I was the queen of live journal.
I could see that. There was these girls who were mean, and that was like my first encounter of like
Mean girls.
Mean girls, yeah. And I would always just kind of take. I'm not an aggressive person, but I'm very like passive, kind of whatever. And so I wrote this like blog shitting on them and stuff, and then they found it somehow, and they went to so my mom was my vice principal. So it became this whole like thing that it shouldn't have been. And
was your mom like on your side or on their side?
it was more of a like, what you did was stupid, but this is also stupid. But that kind of deal. Because I think they took it like really far. I think they wanted me like expelled, and she was like, it's not that deep. And then it kind of blew over, which is how that should always happen.
So your mom just low-key was like, don't worry about Martin, he's fine. And just
she would I wouldn't say she would get pissed, but it was more so a thing of like, she's the first Black, female vice principal at this school system. Okay. We weren't zoned for the school, so it was always like you can't get in trouble here because they can't get rid of you. And it was always like, you wouldn't survive Huffman. I was like, you don't know that. Maybe I would, but...
What was Huffman?
Huffman was the school I would technically be zoned for, but it was like a majority Black school.
Oh, so you were being bused into a different school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not busted. I drove with mom. But,
okay. Yeah, you were driven in.
Yeah.
Like a civilized young man should be.
Exactly.
To his school.
Yeah. Although there's nothing wrong with buses either. Buses are cool.
Yeah, your mom is fantastic, by the way.
Thank you.
You guys are still so close.
Yeah.
I haven't met her, but I remember...
You spoke to her in December, I believe.
Yeah, I talked to her when you were back for the holidays.
Yeah.
Y'all were really close.
Yeah.
Growing up, what was the house like? Was Dad around at all?
My mom and dad got a divorce when I was 5. So I was born in Texas. My dad had issues with addiction, drugs and alcohol. 5 years old, my mom was kind of like, I can't do this anymore. So we moved to Birmingham, which is where both of them are from. But my dad went to TCU, and my mom started teaching out in Texas. So me and my mom moved to Birmingham. We lived with my granny for a little bit. And then eventually my dad moves out to Birmingham as well. They still were divorced, but I think he just wanted to be closer to family and closer to me and stuff like that.
Yeah. Were they on good terms at all when you were a kid, or was it really tough going between the two of them?
Yes and no. So she had full custody, but like would still let him, visit and we'd hang out every now and then when he was clean.
Sorry to hear that.
No, it happens. It's part of life.
Yeah. No, maybe that's why we're friends. Did you know, I think I've told you this, my bio dad was like alcoholic and verbally abusive.
I don't think I knew that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he, I was like, oh, this is all like making sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I asked you before we started recording about like the different issues, and I was like, wait, we have the same issues.
Yeah, and you named the 3 things, and I was like, wait a minute, is it just the first to come to your mind, or I have jokes where I talk about the diagnosis and stuff, and like how and like getting a dog to help, and then the dog also, my Whitney, having the same diagnosis essentially. Not really, but she is like a sad ass dog. So.
Oh, what? Really?
Oh, she's always just like, because I think she was abandoned when she was young and they used her for breeding or something. I don't know all the details, but I wasn't there. But yeah.
As a little kid, what was the craziest prank that you pulled?
Craziest prank that I pulled. Wow. There's going to be some teachers who are happy to hear this admittance of guilt. So the year that I the year that I graduated high school.
Yes.
So I was in marching band for several years.
What did you play?
Trombone.
Okay. He's a trombone man.
I'm a trombone man. I'm a trombonist. Yeah, something like that.
Trombonist.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Better than tromboner.
Yeah. Or pianist.
After I graduated, I had a buddy who, it was his senior year. We were best friends. And we still chat. So I'm not going to say his name just because I don't want him to be implicated.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, friend?
He's a doctor now too, and in like an awesome band.
Wow.
Yeah, he's doing good. We're all doing good. Shout out to this team. We came up with this idea of like salting a penis in the band field. He again, he's a doctor.
Wait,
so
salting a penis? Whose penis?
no, not like not putting salt on a penis. So salt burns grass.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
So
I thought you were good.
no, we weren't gonna put salt. You thought we were gonna put salt on someone?
You said salting a penis.
Yeah. Like a giant, not a person's penis, but a...
Yeah, you were using salt to create the shape of a penis.
Of a penis, yes.
Got it.
Yes. So, because it was like tradition for pranks to be pulled.
Yes, senior year.
Senior year, yeah. So that was our grand idea. There were other people who were like coming and going, but they didn't know what we were doing, and we were trying to like hide because we were like, we don't want to be implicated in this, but I think we only use cash. Like we had it thought out.
Were you incognito, like trying to hide from the security cameras?
No, because I don't think security cameras were that like state of the art back then. It was we got it from like a Walmart or whatever. So yeah, I remember we salted it, and I put like forks. Yeah, like plastic forks in the field, so I could be like, no, that was our prank. So, because like I said, we were spotted there, but if we do the fork thing, then we'd say, well, that was our thing. But there's two other groups who like did stupid pranks or whatever that same time.
So the signature that you had, like, so that everybody knew that it was you, was to put the forks.
No, we did that as a decoy in case we were to get called in or called or whatever.
Yeah.
Which the next day the director's up in the tower and he sees a giant dick burned into the band field, and
it's a dick made out of dead grass.
Basically, yeah, just it's the yellow part formed a giant. We had everything.
Was there hair?
I don't think we did hair. I think it was just like a standard like dick balls kind of deal. And I remember we got called in. This one kid who was a year above me was there, and he snitched on us. And we were like, no, dude, we didn't. We did the fork thing. You remember the forks? And then this other kid, I think he had like flunked out or something, but he always wanted to look like a badass, so he took the blame for it. He was like, I did that, and they were like, okay. And we're like, yeah, we heard he did it, so it was him. So that was that.
So you got off.
For the most part, yeah. Years later, one of the assistant band directors was like, it was you, wasn't it? I was like, yeah, but like now I'm 30. What are you gonna?
You're an adult.
Yeah, like, let it go.
They're like, you're suspended from what?
Yeah.
From life. That's deep.
That's deep. That's deep.
Did you start doing stand-up in high school or college or later?
I started in college. My sophomore year of college. It's me and my best friend Josh. We were like, because I can't like play guitar or anything, and he can play guitar. And we just were like started writing stuff in my dorm room, and
songs.
Yeah, we'd do songs, and so but we would do like comedy songs. We would do skits and sketches, and it was like a hybrid stand-up sketch kind of deal where the stand-up would lead into a sketch. We would do all this live, and then we tried to bring it to Birmingham, but I wasn't 21 at the time, so they wouldn't let me in the bars. And
even as a performer,
they wouldn't let me in. Eventually we were able to, I turned 21, and then we kind of just started like really going for it. And then I started doing the solo thing when I was, still 21, and I moved to New York for a little bit, and then back to Birmingham, and then I was in Chicago for 7 years, and then LA.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a journey.
What a journey.
What's been a big challenge for you out here? You're very even keeled and people wouldn't know that you have these issues that you told me about, but like, what's the obstacle, right?
Yeah, I think my obstacle has always been not necessarily the company that I keep, but like I think people who I used to associate with who probably didn't have the best intentions for me. I think coming from Alabama into a major city and being, for the most part, like when I was hanging out with other comedians, I was like on the younger side of, whoever I was hanging out with. So in a lot of their brains, it was like, oh, he's this dumb young black kid from Alabama. And even though they can't vocalize that, that I think that was the kind of imagery of he should be happy to be here. So so they didn't vocalize it, but I could tell by their energy.
And these are like people that you're working with?
Working for, stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It probably felt really othering.
Yeah.
Or like you're an outsider.
The story I always tell is like when I first moved to Chicago, I was just very nice to people. For me, it was like there's no point in being mean or rude or whatever, but they were put off by that because they expected if you're new, you're supposed to just shut up and like do your open mics and whatever, and kind of make it. And then if you're there in a year, then good. If you're not, then
like you're not supposed to actively try to make friends with people. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess something like that along those lines. But I remember doing a open mic or a show with a group of people, and this guy giving us a ride to a bar, like hopping in the bar. Oh yeah, it was fun. Mind you, I'd only been there for less than a month, so I didn't really know the lay of the land. This is before like iPhones, and everyone's like, "All right, we're leaving. The bar's closed down." I'm like, "Oh, can I get a ride to this train or that?" No, we don't have room anymore. Oh, but you have, he's like, "Oh, just keep walking that way, and you'll figure out you'll find a train or whatever." So I knew I had to get to the red line. I think we're in a neighborhood where it was just like blue line. And again, it was like 2-3 in the morning. So not a lot of trains were running at this time. I remember walking up there, and I don't even remember how much like I had on my little, train card at the time. But walking there and like the train's not going for another hour or so. So then I have to figure out a bus, and I like walked for maybe another hour and a half. And then, so I just kept walking, like basically till the sun came up, when I finally found like a route of buses that were going to go some sort of direction, asking the bus driver, like, are any of these going this way? Oh, you need to take this one. This one will take you here. So it was like a random bus driver was the only person who helped me outside. Like even my peers and people who I would later in a way consider, call friends, but maybe not.
Not at the time.
Not at the time, no.
It's like you had to earn their friendship. They couldn't just be nice because you're a human being who is in a new city and trying to make his way.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. But I feel like that happens where people are just kind of out for themselves and they might not be intentionally trying to be mean. They just are so self-involved that they don't realize the consequences of their actions for this other person.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that happened. I feel like I just want to go back in time and give you a hug, give you a ride somewhere.
If I had a time machine, there's so many things I'd tell young Martin. Be like, don't talk to that motherfucker.
Wait, what would you tell young Martin? This is interesting.
And you know what? Part of me is also like, I think everything has a lesson that you grow from it, you learn from it, you make mistakes. We're brought here to fuck up. No one's like brought here to be the perfect recreation of life itself.
No.
But I'd be like, hey, avoid certain people or show more respect here. Or like, don't be so open with this person because, their intentions might not be the same as your intentions.
Right.
Stuff like that, and also like, be faithful in relationships or just mind again who you talk to and who you need to keep your guard.
Be faithful in relationships. Are you out there cheating?
I was back in the day, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm not surprised. I mean, sorry, you're a good person, but I feel like also you're, you got a big sex drive. You like to have fun. Women like you. I don't know. I mean, it happens.
It happens. Yeah, but that was in my. I would not do it. I learned so many lessons from that, and I'm like, I'm never cheating again. And people always think like, oh, but once a cheater, always a cheater. It's like, nah, man. Sometimes you don't want to deal with that shit anymore.
No, I don't think it's true. What is her name? Esther Perel. She has all the books that she's written on infidelity and how she talks about infidelity, weirdly, it's going to clarify the relationship once it comes to light, right? Because either you're going to decide to stay and work it out, which is a lot of hard work after someone has cheated, or you're going to separate. But either way, there's some sort of underlying issue, either with one person or another person or the connection. And that's why infidelity is happening.
Yeah.
It's not really about the sex so much.
Yeah.
At least that's her theory. And it's so much more common than people would think. And I feel like if people would just accept the fact that, like, oh, this does happen. It's not the end of the world. No one got murdered.
Yeah.
We're not advocating for infidelity. Let's just be clear.
But I think the way that a lot of people, I tried both. With one relationship, I tried to, like, let's stick together. We can do this. We can figure it out.
It doesn't always work. It's hard.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not with her. So yeah, it clearly doesn't work. But I remember sending her an email like a few years ago where I just laid it all out there, and I was apologizing, like, yo, I said some shit. I fucked up in this relationship.
Yeah.
Third. And she said back, I hate you and you have to learn to be okay with that. And that was such a powerful...
Woof.
Yeah. But like, why wouldn't she hate me? Like, she has every right to hate me, dislike me, be indifferent about me. She was, I remember, like, her opening line, like, you know, you have no reason to contact me anymore. Like, I moved on. I'm disappointed that, you know, you didn't learn from that experience.
She doesn't think you learned from it.
Well, because I cheated on a different partner.
Oh, after her.
After hers. These are, like, both people who, like, were in the comedy community.
I see.
Yeah. So having that one kind of blow up in my face, and then the second one blew up even bigger because I think she came from a place of a little bit more privilege. So people catered to her a little bit more after that breakup. And then me talking to girlfriend number one about, like, this, and her being like, hey, people are going to hate you and you have to be okay with that because this is something you did. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
I think it's very healing to see a man receive an email like that and not immediately go, well, she's wrong. She needs to like me. She needs to be okay with me and forgive me. And because I've been on the other side of that email. Like, I will have exes hit me up and try to make nice or different stuff. And there's not always something bad that happened, but sometimes you've already made it really clear that you don't want this person in your life.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, then the man feels entitled to be in your life, be an active part of your life, and make sure that you like him to, like, stroke his ego.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very refreshing that you're just kind of like, yeah, I fucked up. You know what? Okay. She hates me. That's her opinion. We're going to learn from this. We're going to move on.
I think that a lot of people are afraid of looking wrong in situations. And the best thing I can do is not only be wrong, but be called out for being wrong or a wrong action. And with relationships and cheating, I had seen so many family members and friends who I looked up to or regarded like, oh, this is my mentor. This is this person or that person. And I would see them either cheating or they would tell me, well, yeah, man, you're, like, talented. You should be able to fuck other people. Like, that kind of thing.
People are encouraging this behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're a touring comedian. It's almost like being a rock star. You're in a different city every other week. It's weird. There's a stigma against dating actresses.
Mm.
The stigma is we're all crazy. Okay, yeah, guilty as charged. Or, oh, well, she's just trying to fuck her way to the top. And if you're not a really big deal Hollywood person, then she's not going to be interested in you, or she's not going to be faithful or whatever. So, like, I get that. But these people that you look up to, it's like they're human.
Yeah.
They're humans. We make mistakes, and that's how we learn.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get it right the first time. I mean, I guess in very rare cases, people will meet and fall in love with someone, get married, and then just be together forever, like when they're really young.
Yeah.
But if you don't find that person when you're young and you're just out there doing stuff, like, yeah, we're all going to be doing a lot of trial and error.
Yeah, that's really what it is. And I hope that more people give themselves that kind of clearance to recognize, like, oh, I should fuck up sometimes. Because I think my big issue, especially with that last breakup, with so many people being like, well, I would never do that. It's like, well, you weren't in a situation to where that could happen to you.
But they're saying that to make themselves feel better.
Yeah.
They're saying that because they're like, well, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
And I would never make a mistake like that. And they don't know that.
No.
They actually don't know that.
Behind Sunglasses is brought to you by the folks at Papa and Barkley. They have awesome CBD products that I actually use IRL for body aches, better sleep, and to relieve stress. My gateway product was actually their relief balm. It's great for my carpal tunnel in my wrists, or if you just have achy muscles after a workout. But they also have tinctures, gummies, chocolates, capsules, you name it. And you can get 20% off your entire order of CBD. Just use code CRYING at checkout when you go to papaandbarkley.com.
But I remember as a kid, there was still that abandonment issue and that seeking approval and all that stuff. And I felt like the only time I was really getting the attention that I wanted was when I was achieving something, being a good student, or entertaining people. Like when my parents would have friends over, they'd have parties, and I'd just like play clarinet or do a weird little dance thing or tell jokes. And being such a perfectionist and having all these achievements, like in school, it's like, okay, AP student, gets into NYU, does all this stuff. Then once I was an adult, being an actor, there's no clear path. So there wasn't a specific thing that I could hit and feel like, okay, here's the next achievement. Here's the next achievement. Here's the next achievement. And I was doing that in relationships, you know? So then all of a sudden it was like, okay, well, I have to hit this checklist of this specific kind of person, and we have to be married by this certain time. And it was destroying me.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that until I literally almost married the wrong person.
Yeah.
And that's, in a weird way, the best thing that could have ever happened to me is for me to fuck up that badly.
Yeah.
Because like, I'm not going to blame it all on him. Like, I put myself there.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's something, so in my last relationship where I cheated, I think I was like 27, 28.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember putting so much of that blame on myself, you know, because it fucking erupted, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was gnarly. And I remember a friend being like, you have to learn to forgive yourself because you kind of keep taking these lashings on your own and from other people and all this stuff. But at the same time, like, clearly something wasn't gelling in that relationship for you to seek this outside validation. Going 20 some odd years with not hearing that from anybody.
Yeah, you were empty.
I was empty. I didn't have like a girlfriend in high school or like, and like I had my first girlfriend was in college, but like we were kind of long distance. So all these insecurities, I think, still were bottled up throughout my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it led to, because we never argued it. So it just never felt like that second gear.
Mm-hmm. You and the girl that you were with?
I was with for, yeah.
Okay. You guys never argued?
Never argued.
You know, I've heard that it's like not a good sign.
Yeah.
It means, which is weird.
Yeah.
Because there'll be people that brag like, we never fight. We just have so much fun together and we just agree on everything. And that's why we're a great match. And I always, like, I don't say, you know, you're not going to comment on someone else's relationship and correct them. Yeah. But you have your own wants and needs and history and other things that are completely individual to you that are so different from your partner. And like, it's on you. You're not communicating.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should be fighting all the time, obviously, but like,
you're hiding part of yourself.
Yes.
If you are, or even part of your background or history or something, if you never allow yourself to be like, hey, actually, I don't agree with that thing.
No.
And but at the same time, prove me wrong. If I'm wrong, I like being wrong.
I love that we're talking about relationships because I wasn't sure. Because you and I are such good friends. Mm-hmm. And I'm always like, when I bring a good friend on the podcast, I'm never sure where the convo is going to go. But like, you and I always talk about the relationship stuff in real life. So it's, I feel like it just makes sense, you know? And those little things, they add up to big things. Because it's like, you think, he said he was going to get me this milk from the grocery store and he didn't get it. I'm not going to say anything. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't want to make an issue, right? It starts really small like that. And then you make that decision and then it becomes the default decision to not say anything to the point where like, oh, he said this comment about me at a dinner with a bunch of friends and I didn't like that. Mm. But I'm not used to speaking up for myself with this person, so I'm not going to say anything. Yeah. And that's when like over time, it's a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
Or people just decide to stay in unhappy relationships, and that's a decision too.
Yeah.
But it
worked throughout the 50s, and look at us all now.
Raised by those people.
Yeah.
With your various diagnoses, I remember before the show, I was like, well, what is it? We've got this salad bar of mental health issues. Do you have depression, anxiety, PTSD? You're like, whoa, oh.
Right. Yeah.
And then I said, well, welcome to the club.
Yeah. I got diagnosed in, gosh, I think it was 2017 or 18.
With all of them?
All three.
Oh.
Because I'd never really gone to a therapist. I'd never gone to a psychiatrist. I always just kind of tried to man up about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I found myself trying to kill myself in a kitchen.
Martin,
yeah.
you didn't know this.
Yeah, I mean, that's not something I broadcast a lot.
No, I just, as a friend.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to hear that. So that was like a rock bottom moment for you.
Yeah. I think just a lot of, one, the fallout of the breakup.
Yeah.
And then trying to do something different with my life.
Yeah.
And seeing all that kind of crumble, when you have like certain dreams, and then those dreams don't fester into the realities that you hope or want them to be.
Yeah.
And I was an extra on this show on True TV, and then I get a call from my agent at the time. They were dropping me. I was like, while I just was like hanging out, I get this call, and I'm like, all right, well, I guess everything's over now. This is the only thing I've known or worked towards since I was 18.
Yeah.
And I was in this. They were filming in like some, I don't even know how you just, like a VFW hall. VFW hall.
Is that veterans?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, got it.
And so I was in the kitchen when I was on the phone, and I have a knife. I'm trying to remember which way you do it to do it. And then my mom calls me out of the blue, and she's crying. And I'm like, what's going on? She was in Atlanta. She was driving, and there was traffic was blocked off, and she was looking to see what happened. And it was a kid who was sitting in the middle of traffic, like crisscross applesauce, trying to get hit by a car because he wanted to kill himself. And all these people rushed out of their cars to move him to the side. And he's trying to fight them off to say, no, I want to die.
Like he's trying to throw himself in. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he wanted to just get hit.
Wow.
And so then she says, how are you doing? And I just start bawling and telling her where I'm at. And she was like, you can't die. You can't do that because I don't know what I'd do if you're not here. And just that moment, I took some time away from anything entertainment based, comedy, acting, all that stuff. And that was just what I just needed to hear in that moment. And just, and I was like, I'll be fine being security guard or, whatever gig. And
you just want to get stable.
I just want to get stable.
Yeah.
And so I was driving for Lyft, and I was working a graveyard shift at a security job.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember that December, that was the first time I couldn't go home. So I was, I had kind of drained all my money at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up getting into a car accident. So then I couldn't drive for Lyft anymore, and I couldn't get to work.
Whoa.
So I'm just come on. And I remember crying, and my mom being all right, you have to man up. You have to figure it out.
Right.
And that being kind of the catalyst of all right, let me go to therapy. Let me get a psychiatrist. Let me figure this out. And started taking Zoloft, and that, that helped kind of with quieting down the dark thoughts and stuff like that. But
yeah, when you're in that crisis situation, I think that's the best time to just, if you're open to it, doing the meds, because it takes the edge off enough that you can try to start to understand what happened and put your life back together. Yeah. I mean, thank God for your mom.
Yeah.
She had that instinct,
Yeah. Of all times to call. Had it been 2 minutes later, that wouldn't be here.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I was already a big fan, but now I'm she's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's also interesting because I feel we're all connected there's a collective unconscious.
Mhm.
And that kid doing that on that same day as you, like, that's all something in the air.
Yeah.
And he didn't die that day. Your mom saw it. She called. She saved you.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wonder where that kid is now.
Hopefully, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking about him now.
he might be on a podcast somewhere recording.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
You know, let's hope that he's.
We're gonna find that kid. He's gonna be the next guest.
I would love. Internet.
Do your thing.
What year was this?
This was 2017, so that fall of 2017.
In what city?
So he was in Atlanta.
Uh-huh.
So my mom was, like I said, driving down the I-20.
Okay.
And I was in LA. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're still here, and like that you were able to have not only like your mom pushing you to get help, but that you had the instinct to reach out and to say, hey, I'm not okay. I want to figure this out. And how was it when you got into your first therapy session? Was that totally like weird or tough or good?
I had a therapist before that. And then when I moved to LA, I think my therapist before he was good, but it was a lot of like, I don't know. I think it made me more militant. I think it just made me more angry.
Which made you more angry?
My first therapist, not his, but I think the stuff that he told me would kind of rile me up more. Not intentionally.
Like hard truths.
Yeah, but I think it wasn't like self-reflecting. It was, and I think that's so I was glad that I switched to my new therapist was a Black woman.
Good.
Because it just kind of came with a little bit more compassion and learning and listening, but also the aspect of like knowing the Blackness around a lot of stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, a lot of my trauma, both in comedy and in life and whatever, did deal with racism, be it passive or aggressive racism.
Yes.
And realizing like, oh, this is like something I've been dealing with since I was 5. But as a kid, I'm like, oh, it's weird that old white lady was mean to me at a jumping jamboree.
Right.
But as an adult, being like, oh, that was fucked up. She did that because of X, Y, Z.
Yeah, you're processing it through this new lens. And then you're probably getting re-traumatized a little bit about these old experiences. And it's probably a lot to handle.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But I think also maybe that's what I needed to handle it because I hadn't before. And that was something when I talked to my mom about like, therapy, she was like, yeah, you never really took time to grieve, like, your dad dying. You never really took time to grieve about this or about this thing that like you just kind of tried to work through everything instead of allowing yourself to feel.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm at. Like I just stopped taking my Zoloft in December.
Okay.
Because I kind of was like, I need to feel sad or angry.
You want to feel your feelings again, and you're not afraid of it.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And how are you feeling now?
Good. I mean, the brain zap sucked for a bit, but outside of that is.
Oh yeah, I dealt with that. I was I remember when I came off of Effexor, I had about 2 solid weeks just on the couch. It's a weird feeling. It's not fun.
No.
I mean, I did things, but then when I was at home, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So, Martin, before we wrap up, 2 things I want to address. One is KFC's, the short film that you did, The Recipe for Seduction. So I rewatched that before our interview.
Okay.
And for those of you who don't know, KFC, you are not wrong. It is Kentucky Fried Chicken. They produced a really amazing short film.
Yeah.
High art.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a Lifetime movie.
It is. It was a Lifetime. It is a Lifetime movie.
Oh, it
aired on Lifetime. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that because I saw it just on online.
Yeah. No, it aired on Lifetime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's like 16 minutes long, so it's like an easy lunchtime watch. And
great paired with KFC.
Yeah, and it's the classic. The girl has this rich, mean guy that she's supposed to marry, but then Mario Lopez comes in as, hold on, I wrote this down.
Colonel Harland.
Harland Sanders. Mm-hmm. And they put gray in his hair and gave him the little goatee and gave him the little tie that Colonel Sanders has. And she has to And of course, I mean, who wouldn't want to be with Mario Lopez? But he's not as rich as this other man that she's supposed to marry. And then you're the best friend. And how was it working with Mario Lopez?
He was cool. He was very nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
I mean, I didn't really talk to him.
You didn't talk to him?
I talked to him, but not like a crazy amount.
Okay.
But yeah, I talked to him just enough. He was very nice.
Was there KFC for like crafty or for lunch?
No, there was no KFC for.
Really?
Yeah.
They didn't feed you KFC on the KFC project.
No, they didn't.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
maybe in the sequel.
Yeah. I mean, because towards the end, the bad guy does like bite into some KFC. I saw.
Yeah. So we had it was on set, but it was literally like for the set.
Oh, like to be eaten on camera, not.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? That's right. Because you're probably sick of it by then. You're eating it so much on camera. Why would you also eat it for lunch?
We honestly, we didn't even have to eat it on camera.
You didn't?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember like having a full plate. They're like, yeah, it's been, we got that shipped in, so you don't want to eat that right now.
So no spit bucket. None of that
no
stuff.
spit bucket.
And I loved your role because it was just so funny. I feel like it's very similar to what you're doing in real life, where you're like the best friend, giving the relationship advice, you're encouraging her to follow her heart.
Mm-hmm.
And then you officiated the damn wedding.
Yeah. And I officiate weddings in real life.
That's what I'm saying. Also, Martin Morrow does weddings. He does weddings.
Yeah.
Have you ever done roast battles?
I have before. I'm not like a big fan of them because I feel like it's like writing for a one night thing.
Yeah.
That you don't get paid for.
And you're also like such a nice person.
Yeah. Typically, yeah. I can't be a dick, but I think that's another part of me. I try to like keep. That's the demon I keep bundled up now. Is like, don't be mean to people. Yeah. If they, yeah. I usually give like a 3-strike rule now.
3 strike of what?
If you're rude to me or like if you try to roast me, I'm always like kind of lasering in on, well, what's going to be your biggest insecurity that I can. So I'll let you get your 3 off, and then boom, I just cut your throat.
Ooh, I like that. Okay. Yeah, because I had you. I had you over for dinner, and I feel like I did like a little roast, and I saw. Maybe you were keeping score, but I didn't do 3. I did like 1 or 2. So now I know.
Yeah, if you had one more, we would not be here today.
It would be over. No. Friendship over.
Because I go for haymakers, man. Go for haymakers. Go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have so for my 34th birthday, I had a birthday roast at a friend's house and let everyone kind of get their stuff off, but there's still things that I said back that people are like, hey man, I was thinking about that thing the other night. It's like, bro, that was a year ago. You have to let it go now.
Yeah. I have like a 72-hour. I'm like, you got beef with me? You let me know. After that, there's an expiration date. Let's move on. Unless it's something, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to be a total dick. Sometimes people take a long time to process things. But if it's someone I talk to on a regular basis, like, let's get to it.
Yeah.
So the other question I had was a special segment that I like to call Hot Tips. Hot tips. That's where,
The ballyhoo.
The air horns.
Yes, I heard them.
They were real.
Yeah. David? The trumpets.
Oh, wow.
Was it David? Wait, who blew the Gabriel? Jesus.
I don't know.
I gotta go to church. Gabriel, blow your horn.
Jewish.
Yeah.
Sorry. Is that Old Testament shit? Wait, should I know that? So hot tips. Martin, when you have a bad day, you have a date that doesn't go the right way, or maybe you have a bad set. I know that never happens for you, like ever.
Oh, never.
You've never bombed in your life. But when you go home, what is something that you do for yourself to turn your mood around?
If I'm sad, I'll play video games because it's a good distraction. If I'm angry, I'll clean.
Oh, you know what? I do the same thing. Rage cleaning.
Yeah.
It's a thing. Because then I feel like when you get mad, it gets into your body and you have to move.
Yeah. You
got to get that energy out.
Yeah.
Shake it off somehow. And I'll just go. I have a little Marie Kondo that lives inside of me, and I just start tidying. It's not so much the actual like scrubbing and cleaning. It's the putting things away, reorganizing them. And then I step back after an hour or two and I'm like,
Also, I took boxing classes for a while.
That's smart.
So if I was mad about something at work, I would then be able to box it because there was like a coworker who I wanted to fight, and I'm not like but like he pissed me off so bad I'll never forget. I was like, I'm gonna go to 2 classes today.
And then you just imagine his face on the punching bag.
Yeah,
because that's healthy.
Yeah,
right. And then you never have to have a fight in real life with this guy.
Yeah. No one goes to jail.
So as soon as my foot heals, I want to get into some martial arts shit.
You can do some MMA.
I don't know. I'm gonna try a few different things, see what sticks.
Yeah.
I've heard jujitsu can be a good one.
Jujitsu is a good one.
Krav Maga.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't do boxing because I got a weak wrist. I tried it. It was fun.
Yeah.
So, Martin, it's been lovely having you here today.
Thank you. It's been amazing.
It's just like so exciting to have have someone in person and have it be someone that I'm like actually friends with. You wore leopard print for me.
Yeah, it was all for you.
Thank you so much.
I went to H&M today and got it.
Really?
No, that part's true. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So do you have any last words of wisdom for anybody who might be struggling out there? I don't know, like a young performer who just got to the big city. They're ready to make it, and they got some meanies who are sending them on the bus.
Just keep believing in yourself. I think that's number one. Just if you believe that you're good enough and that you're talented, and like not in a delusional sense, because there's a lot of people like that too.
Yeah.
But if you feel that your talents outweigh the bad, then keep pushing and know that everyone has an audience for them. So
everyone has an audience.
Yeah.
Well,
clearly that's why fucking TikTok and Instagram's a thing.
And that's why Kid Rock somehow still has a career.
Yeah. Bow to Bow is not that good of a song.
Well, thank you so much, Martin.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Crying Behind Sunglasses. I've been your host, Keila Dolle, and I am so honored that you decided to visit my cozy corner of the internet. If you want to follow me or my guest on socials, just check out our info in the description. And please, if you love the show, be sure to follow, rate, and write a review on your favorite podcasting app. It really helps to spread the word. Also, this offer, I'm going to say, is good for the entire summer of 2023. If you screenshot your review and DM it to me at CryingBehindPod on Instagram, I will send you a surprise piece of merch in the mail. That's right, we are finally doing merch this summer, baby! This offer is also only good for my American listeners. If you live international, you're going to have to pay me for that shipping. But I'm really just excited to have some mugs and some sunglasses and maybe even some t-shirts. But obviously, the sunglasses, that's the important part. I'm going to read a recent review just to give you a little bit of inspiration. And the headline is, "Get you a girl who can do both." Helpful, nerdy, insightful, and funny, charming, and easy on the eyes. You've found your host, Keila, a literal get you a girl who can do both meme. A must-listen pod. Wow, thank you so much. So, leave a glowing review, and maybe you'll get a little surprise in the mail. But just be sure to screenshot it and obviously send it to me. What else? Oh, right. Well, I said this in the beginning, but just in case, if you want to watch full video episodes, if you're a visual learner, as I am, you can see the full video episodes that are available at cryingbehindpod.com. And you can support the show on patreon.com/cryingbehindpod. That's where I'm putting bonus content. We've got a whole community going on there, so I'd love for you to join us. Our theme song is by Peter Stoya, and the lyrics and some of the guitar is by yours truly. Until next time, stay cool, stay present, stay sunny. Hey, buddy. You doing okay? When therapy's not enough and life's making things tough, but you need to feel less alone, then this show could be your home. We got meditations, interviews, host with all her own issues. Oops, that's me. Join me, 'cause we can't hide forever. We crying, no denying, crying behind sunglasses.